gonna handle this, and then we're gonna get into that. You know what I'm saying? All right, don't.
Yeah, baby.
Aye. Damn.
Yeah, so I gave her that monkey D, and that's calling me the Pirate King. You know what I'm saying?
Who really running shit? It's not us. Ay, ay, bitch, we pop up. Who really running shit? It's not us. Ay, ay, bitch, we pop up. Ay, ay, we don't just walk the shit, we talk. Me and all my niggas solid. If you got a problem, we can solve it.
Good evening. Welcome. How you doing?
Either you bought it or you not.
Good morning, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sly Report. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today we're not going to have the face cam. We're going to just keep it strictly panels and see how y'all like that. Partly because I don't got a haircut and partly because some technical difficulties. But we're going to get right into the chapter. But before we do that, I would like to give a shout out to my guy Mal. That's whose art you're looking at right now. So before anything else, if you want to go and check out him and see what he's doing, I got a link to his page down below in the description, so go check that out. But without further ado, let's get into the Sly review for One Piece chapter 1132 and 1133. Let's go. So, chapter 1132 starts off with the giant warrior pirates sailing up to Elbaph, and we see the kid, the giant child Cologne. He's calling out to them and seeing if they're gonna stop by the bar there so he can meet up with them and, you know, meet Luffy or whatever. And he's excited to meet Luffy because, you know, Shanks specifically told him to remember Luffy's name. So the giant warrior pirates, they say no, they're not stopping there. They're headed straight up to the Sun Realm, and which we later find out is the second layer of Elbaph. It's separated into realms: the Underrealm, which is the bottom layer; the mid layer, which is the Sun Realm, where most people live; and then the top layer. So, and there are different translations on that one, but just top layer, heaven layer, astral layer, whichever you want to go with. So, as they are getting ready to ascend up to that layer, we see that they are headed towards a rainbow. And the crew asks, like, what's going on? How we going to get up there? You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And the giant warrior pirates explain, like, oh, okay, well, we about to ride on this rainbow. And as this is about to happen, the new giant warrior pirates, Haruden and Stanson, meet up with the giant warrior pirates, and they all ride up the rainbow. And this is impressive to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's awestruck by this. Some people are asking how it makes sense because, you know, rainbows, they're explaining what rainbows are scientifically, and the giants just say to them, like, no, rainbows are something you sail on, you know? So that's happening. And we get the item for which they use to create the rainbows that they sail on, and it's called a sunstone painter. But we can't get stuck here. We got to continue, so we will. So we cut back to Luffy, who is now back on the bridge up towards the Sun Realm, but between the Sun Realm and the Underworld. So he's back up there on the bridge, and he sees the Sunny being carried by Goldberg and Gerd, and he meets up with them. And Gerd assures Luffy that, while apologizing, that they aren't like Road, and that, you know, they're on their side. And Goldberg asks Luffy, like, you know, he just came from the Underrealm, what was up with that? And Luffy, you know, being a terrible liar, he's just like, oh, nothing, whatever. And we get a little mini flashback, and it shows that Loki had him promise not to tell anybody that they had this conversation. So whatever happened between them, we're going to find out later. But for right now, Goldberg takes his face and his response as him being like shook by whatever he experienced down there. So he's like, oh, we don't got to talk about it. So they continue with their after Road and the rest of the crew, and then we cut over to them. So we gonna do that. So we cut over to the Zoro and Sanji group, and they have successfully laid a trap and sprung it on Road, who is still after them, using Nami and Chopper as bait or whatever. Usopp's there and he's freaking out, worrying that they've gone too far. But before they can decide what to do next, this is when Gerd and Goldberg and Luffy arrive, and Gerd and Goldberg both attack Road for his actions. And it's funny because they just beat him up, like literally. And then once that's happened, Gerd and Goldberg, they explain to the rest of the crew that they're part of the new giant warrior pirates, that they're their allies, that they're going to guide them properly to where to go. So before this can happen, Luffy and Usopp, they just take off ahead of the others, and Gerd shouts directions to them about how they got to just keep going that direction. Eventually they're going to come to some island clouds that they can ride, and that's going to take them over to the village. So that is happening. As this is happening, the giant warrior pirates and the other Straw Hats are approaching the village from the Rainbow Bridge. So they end up getting up to the top of the Rainbow Bridge, and just as that's happening, Luffy and Usopp, they end up on the cloud, and they look up and see this amazing, beautiful sight. And once again, I want to thank my friend Mao. Once again, I'm going to put his at for his Twitter down in the description, but I want to thank him for doing this coloring on this page. But yes, this is what they see. They see the beautiful land of Elbaph and all of this around them, and we start getting some narrations from Louis Arnott, something we haven't gotten in a long time, and that's dotted across the rest of these panels here. But I'm just gonna have them come run up on the screen so you can see them. And honestly, it's just the amazement and awestruckenness on everyone's face by seeing this. It's great. It's great. But ultimately, we get the final panel where the final narration from Louis Arnott is a warning about the land of Elbaph. And we also see the silhouetted figure that we saw from earlier walking through the wilds of Elbaph. So that is the end of 1132. We're going to get right into 1133, and this one gets emotional. We open up chapter 1123, starting on a flashback taking place 22 years ago, where we see Spondine, the father of Spondum, pinning the sinking of the civilian ships and the sinking of several warships, all on an 8-year-old Robin, and calling her the devil. So basically, it was giving her her nickname, the Devil Child, saying she has no emotions, saying and we just get a flashback of Robin going through life as this 8-year-old girl, and she's on the run. Like, it's heart-wrenching, bro. There's a part where she literally is considering like ending her own life. We follow young Robin through everywhere she goes, as she's hunted and betrayed and told she's doesn't have the right to live. We see her literally eating out the trash, and like I said previously, even at one point she even considers like bungee jumping with no cord, but remembers her mother and Saul willing her to live on. And it's just so like it's crazy. And at the end of the flashback, it ends with like Robin just running on and crying and trying to laugh like Saul and just willing herself to live on. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So we cut back to the present, where everyone is basically meeting up in the Western Village, where the new giant warriors, they're coming up to the Western Village port. Most of the other guys, they've already made it to the village by being with Gerd and Goldberg and them. So everybody's basically meeting up there at the Western Village port. So we get a few scenes of everybody becoming familiar with each other and straightening out some misunderstandings and all that. we get the proper introduction of the new Giant Warrior Pirates to the Straw Hats as a whole. The Giants, new Giant Warrior Pirates and Giant Warrior Pirates, they're trying to plan and throw a feast and get ready for a party to celebrate. But Robin wants to go and, see Saul first. They want to catch up. She wants to catch up. And, the Giants, they agree to wait for them to go and get Saul. And the crew, they all want to go with Robin because, this is an important moment for her. And so they all go off to do that. And Gerd takes them off to the southwest of the Western Village towards where Saul is, over there by the Owl Library. And this is where we meet Saul at. So we're going to get to that, but we're going to hold on a second and then we're going to go there. So once arriving, Robin is initially a little nervous, understandably, to meet up with Saul. But before they can get too far, a giant woman runs up, coming up to the group saying like, hey, something's wrong. Saul has collapsed and he can't, depending on the translation you're reading, it says can't/won't get up. And, this concerns the other Straw Hats. They're all making a ruckus about it. But this is when Robin giggles because she instantly knows what's up. So she's like, all right, well, I'm going to go handle this then. So she goes and she walks up to Saul. And Saul is only pretending to be, out of it, and he tries to scare Robin, and it's a callback to the thing that he did when they first met. And he even laughs about it, asks if he scares her, and he ends up laughing. And he's like, oh, it's embarrassing that I did that. I was nervous to meet you, you know what I'm saying? And he apologized for being silly. And we get Saul's full body as he picks up Robin. And he has burns on his body. He's missing a leg. He has a peg leg now. But as he picks up Robin, he compliments her on how beautiful it is and how she looks just like her mom. And this pleases Robin, and that makes her happy. And then Saul continues, and he brings up Vegapunk's message and how those were the words of the legacy of the people of O'Hara, and that it was just a beautiful thing for him to do that. And that he respects and even compliments Vegapunk's sacrifice for even being that dedicated to get that message out there and make sure that the legacy of the people of O'Hara would never be forgotten. And Robin asks Saul about his scars, and Saul explains how he survived and how the flames from the island being burned and stuff melted the ice, and he ended up just floating and drifting out at sea and ended up here on Elbaph sometime later. He ended up finding out how Robin was alive, and he would read all of those false news articles and stuff they were saying about her, and it would make him upset and all this other stuff. But this is when Robin interrupts him and says that she doesn't want to focus on the negative things, and she even asks Saul if he's going to praise her for being alive. And Saul laughs at first, and then he starts crying as he hugs her, and he does begin to praise her for being a survivor and for doing what it takes to live and still be here and make it through what she made it through. And then they're hugging, and Robin's initially smiling, but then they both break down and start crying, like ugly crying, and proclaiming how much they miss each other. And it's just a beautiful panel. It's a beautiful scene. It's a beautiful emotional reunion, and nobody deserves it more than Robin. And then we cut over to the rest of the Straw Hats, and they're all ugly crying except for Luffy, Zoro, and Jinbei. We don't see Zoro and Jinbei's reaction, but I would wager that their reaction is somewhat the same as Luffy's, because we do see Luffy's reaction, and he's just sitting there with a big old smile on his face because he's happy. You know what I'm saying? He's happy that Robin is happy. And this is where chapter 1133 ends, and we will be back with the Sly Report once again with the next chapter. Let me know how you feel about this format. If you like seeing my face while I talk about this stuff, then we'll go back to that. We're probably going to go back to that anyway. But today we decided to do something a little different. Let me know how you feel about it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Don't forget to go check out my guy Miles' Twitter, so you can go see what he's working on and what he's doing and follow him. But other than that, have a good day.